Hi. Okay, so show of hands, who's the accountant? Come on, get excited, people. Come on, Guy, you're an accountant. All right, so who's not an accountant? Come on. You clearly got to be accountants at heart. Okay, so for all of you accountants, how excited do you get showing your clients a profit and loss? And for you non-accountants, it's not the reaction. You didn't do it right. God. And for you non-accountants, who's ever sat in an accountant's office and being super excited to look at their profit and loss? Anyone? Any takers? Liar. Dead set liar. All right, so I am an accountant, love it. I am a Spotlight fangirl, but I'm a Spotlight fangirl for one reason. I like to tell clients stories. Okay, I'm all about the story. Who as an accountant sits down and says, I'm really looking forward to telling this client that they're going shit? Who actually looks forward to that? Anyone? Does anyone look forward to saying to their client, you're going really well, but then you show them a P&L and a balance sheet and the really well excitement just goes straight down because it's nothing. So I've been using Spotlight for, we're trying to work out today, it's more than 4 years, but we don't quite think it's 5 years yet. We were like Richard's first people getting super duper excited because I had a stack of tradespeople. Now, if you've ever tried to show a tradesperson a profit and loss and balance sheet and actually capture their attention for more than about 30 seconds, my hat goes off to you because I don't know a tradesperson who wants to at all look at a P&L and balance sheet, but they actually understand what's going on. So we started to use Spotlight because I like to tell stories, I like things to be pretty, and I like things to look nice. So Spotlight, we literally used to open this report for, and here's like just a random looking report. Can everyone see that? Okay. Maybe too much. Maybe one, no. We got to zoom in. It's all right. So clients still have to understand what the hell is going on in their business. But most of them couldn't care less if they've spent more money or less money from a budgeting perspective on their staff amenities. So I love stories. You're going to get heaps of them. I ran an accounting business for a bunch of lawyers previously to Growthwise. Worst thing I ever did in my entire lifetime. And I remember I was 22 years old and I went in for my first meeting with these 4 big lawyers and I thought, this is awesome. Made more revenue than they expected me to make. Profit is on target. Everything is going to be fantastic. And I'd given them the reports beforehand and they came back to me and they said, staff amenities is $11.30 or something more than budget. Can you explain it? And I was like, fuck, I bought an extra couple of packets of sugar for the week. Terrible. Clients don't care about that. So clients don't care when you're showing them the breakdown of absolutely everything. They care about things that they can do something with. So for us, Spotlight was that. I can sit down and say to a client, okay, here's your sales. Your labour's 31% of your actual sales. Your parts are 27%. You told me, and we agreed at the beginning of the year, we're going to smash this year's target and your parts are going to be 25%. Is that a conversation you can have with a client? Are they going to explain to you perhaps that, well, hang on a minute, I had a couple of cars in, if I'm a mechanic, that were really parts intensive as opposed to being labour intensive. And then I go, oh, that actually does make sense because we expected that your labour was going to be about 35% of your revenue. You can have a conversation, you can have a story, and you can easily then say to someone, this is where you need to improve. If you're looking at a P&L, I love zero, but there's no percentages. So you've got to like manually add that stuff up. I'm by no means a genius that can do percentages in my head, so I have to get out like the trusty calculator and look like an idiot, or prepare before the meeting. So with this, don't tell my clients this. We set up a Spotlight report, and literally about 5 minutes before I'm about to go into an appointment with the client to do their monthly meeting, their monthly consulting meeting. I press the import button and all of a sudden this report is done and I can have all these meaningful conversations and the client literally thinks that I have laboured for 5 hours over this report, and guess what? They're super duper happy to pay me whatever I want to charge them, because that 2 little things there could have actually saved them $50,000 in a year if that's what I'm getting them to concentrate on. And that's what they can concentrate on. So, Spotlight is a fantastic, nice little tool, but it's the story that it can actually tell your client that ends up being quite exciting. So we always put actual versus budget in. I'm really mean, so we make all of our clients have really hard budgets. And that's a great story and conversation to actually then go, okay, what's happening? Why aren't you here? Why are you here? And it brings up everything else. So when you're trying as an accountant to have a conversation with a client and you don't have something to physically show them, have you ever had someone say, that's not right? At least I've got someone nodding. They go, no, that's not right. That doesn't sound right. And I'm like, my graphs don't lie. My graphs don't lie. So we just threw some of this together so that you actually had something to look at. But actual versus last year, a lovely conversation to have with a client. What's actually happening in comparison to last year? And for me, boom, you're going to make 173 grand, and it's not quite what we wanted. We wanted to get to 200. It means you're going to have to cut something out of your life. Normally, when I say my mechanic that I was giving my story about before, normally if I say to his wife, you're going to have to cut $25,000 worth of expenses out of your life for the next year, she pretty much means that they'll get to $200,000 in profit just because she wants to spend it anyway. But think about this. This is what I show all of our clients. Okay? It's a revenue graph. This literally, for anyone who comes into our office, no matter what they do, no matter what size they are, what's going on in their business, can you not have a conversation and a nice story about a revenue graph? Who's got young, out of the people who are accountants, who's got young people working for them? Young, I'll define young, 35 and under, okay, 30 and under, 25 and under, yes, all right. How many of them can explain to you what's going on with that client's business by looking at a P&L and balance sheet?
Well, it's not a number, but a few.
A few? Pretty good. Can I steal them? Try giving a young kid a graph and say, tell me a story about what's actually going on with this business. Do you think they can actually do that much better than with just numbers chucked on a page? Well, a client can tell you a story about what's going on in their business a lot better than what they can with numbers on a page if you're giving them visual tools. Well, certainly all of the people that I deal with do. So when I said before we chose to implement Spotlight because we had heaps of tradespeople, we also had heaps of designers. So we kind of got in with this creative industry people and all designers with all this, pretty stuff all around them and all these good graphics and everything, and here was me about to give them a report that just had numbers, never going to fly. So when I started to put this in front of our clients, it not only opened up a huge amount of opportunity to have discussions with them about everything else we could help them with, they're actually quite excited. So they're actually quite happy to come into the office or to have our Skype chats or whatever, to go over their numbers because they could start to understand what it meant. They could see how things were actually playing. And for anyone who's got a little bit of a competitive streak in them, there's an orange line there. That orange line is the budget. We actually have clients now who get excited at the end of the month to see if they're above that orange line. And all of our clients' reports are exactly the same. Orange is the budget line. They get really excited to see if they're above that orange line or not. Do you think they're clients that are invested in actually improving their business and wanting to do something? Do you think it's really easy to have a conversation with a client who might not be travelling very well if you've got all this data in graphs to soften the blow? Who gets excited to just sit down and tell a client, well, guess what, you're kind of going bankrupt. This trend line isn't doing very well. Not sure what your accountant's been telling you, but might have a bit of an issue here. So, Guy, in all of his lovely wisdom, and I just want to read this to you, sent something to Jason to say what we needed to do tonight. And it was becoming a CFO with Spotlight has, and this was supposed to be in my words, doubled my profit per client, allowed me to attract larger clients and move up the value chain, and allowed me to spend more time with my family, which was the thing that cracked me up, because if anyone knows me, that's so not true. Because we use Spotlight to achieve X, and therefore our clients love it. And I thought to myself, sure, we've actually more than doubled our profit per client, because this literally is done in 5 minutes. That's it, it's done in 5 minutes. And guess what? It's not just a report that you're giving to somebody, but clients want everything for you now. So literally for most of our clients, they've gone from being, compliance, whatever it is, $3,000 or something per year for compliance, to being $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 per year clients, because they're engaged with us on a monthly basis. We know everything that's going on in their business. And for some of those clients, it's $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a year, because they want that advice and they want everything that goes along with it. So thumbs up to the profit. Thank you, Jason, because it's great that I'm making so much more money. But the real reason why we love Spotlight is it's actually fun. I love being an accountant. Do the rest of you who are accountants actually really enjoy it? Who really enjoys their job? Good. So if you took Growthwise away from me, I would be on the floor having a tantrum wailing, right? Because I actually love my job. But it's because of things like this. So imagine how exciting it would be as a young 20-year-old kid to be able to sit in with a client and show them something like this and explain to them how their business is tracking. How rewarding do you think that is for a 20-year-old? Do you think you're going to retain them as a staff member? Do you think when they're at uni, they get to brag to their friends? So I have an 18-year-old, not a child, like, I'm not that old, who went to uni at the beginning of this year. And one of the things that I said to him, I said, what's happening at uni, blah, blah, blah. And he came back and he said, oh my God, I've got to do an MYOB assignment. How terrible, can I get Freelancer to do that for me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Here you go, let's look that up now. And he goes to uni and he physically shows kids in his class, so first year accounting, he shows them what he gets to do at work, and he has to present this to me. So we do, every Friday, we do house diagnostics. So has anyone watched House? So I'm House. I wander in with my nice little walking stick. And as a team, we pick a client, generally try and do a new one, and I let the team do the diagnostics for House, and we get out the little board and we scribble down all of the things, and it's like, what does the client want to see? How exciting? And guess what tool every single person uses? So I tell them on Monday, it's like the lottery. Monday, here's the client that we're going to do for the week. How terribly exciting. Every single one of the guys at work, so there's 11 of us, they all open up Spotlight. For them to diagnose the client, for them to think about whatever is happening with that client, this is the first tool they go to. I didn't tell them to do that, but this is it, because it does everything for you. I haven't got past page 1, right? So generally for me, to get past page 1 in a client appointment, it's so exciting that it's like 25 minutes has gone past. Quick, scroll. Balance sheets looks pretty, trends look pretty. It's exciting. Cash, who really cares? As long as you've got enough of it, that's fine. But the big thing comes in with, as Jason was saying before, everything else that you can use Spotlight for. So who's got clients that are using Counter or Vend or Deputy or Unleashed or something to run their business, right? Because love Xero, but it doesn't run a business. It's an accounting program. So We've got stacks of retailers now. For some reason, we just like get people in groups. That's why I'm poor. That's why I need Spotlight, because then I've got to buy so many things from the retailers. I've got to double the profit per client. So for us, we've got stacks of retailers who are using Vend. And as a retailer, what's it about? How do you make heaps of money as a retailer? I'm really simple, so sales. Margin's kind of important, yeah, but sales. So what's something you would want to be tracking for a retail client?
Units sold.
Units sold. People love basket size. Right? Basket size is a really simple measure, especially if you're a shop assistant. Get out your competition and go, bam, average 2 things per basket, I win, right? Simple. So we actually bring in that data, we export it out of Vend, because Vend integration is coming, which is so exciting. Export straight out of Vend, the basket size average per month, per person, make it a competition. It's how you get everything to be winning. And actually graph that. Because if that's something that you want the client to be improving on, guess what? You can put that as a graph straight into Spotlight. It takes 2 seconds, copy and paste. The 18-year-old kid does it and I'm like, what buttons did you press for that? And that's the conversation piece that you can end up having with a client. Everyone, when they're looking at Spotlight, and I know I love little pie charts, but really, accounting fees always comes up high, so I kind of make sure I don't put that one. I'm only joking. One of my favourite actual things to show people is revenue to wages ratio. Because at Growthwise, I'm all about automation. So eliminate comes first, automate comes second, delegate comes third. I love people, but I don't want to employ them. So that's the last step. So for all of our clients, that's what we're trying to teach them. Eliminate everything that you don't need to do first, automate everything that you possibly can second, eliminate everything, delegate everything as the third component. So revenue to wages ratio is super important for me. Why? Imagine, okay, you can answer.
No, that's fair. I was going to say efficiency.
Efficiency. Imagine how excited clients end up when you can turn around to them and say, your staff are now generating you $1 extra per hour that they're working across the whole entire 52 weeks of the year. Clients are like, yep, that's pretty cool. I can physically see what's happening there, which is quite exciting. But the idea of Spotlight is you can do so much literally at the click of a button, but if you want to, you can do so much more with the customization. So I went back and had a look at some of the reports that I was doing 4 years ago when Spotlight first came out, and I was like, oh, I was having a conversation with Alan on the train. I'm like, don't ever show anyone that, right? Never in your lifetime. Because we literally pressed the import button and thought that, you know, this was absolutely amazing. Everyone will think that I'm amazing because I've got this pretty report here. And as time has gone on, we've realised it's actually about showing the client everything that they need to see so that they can actually improve. So back to the things that I was going to tell people about moving up the value chain and spending more time with people, etc. This has just made accounting fun, okay? Stuff like this, I don't want to have to type any numbers in. And if you ask me to type numbers in, I'm going to get them wrong because I'll be bored halfway through and something will happen. Our 18-year-old kid, I was just saying before, we found an adding machine who used to have one of those with the big tape, and then you'd have to fold up the tape and staple it to the working papers. I'm old, I had one of those. We found one for him and made him use it because I didn't think it was fair that he didn't know what one actually was. But the young guys coming through, they don't want to do data entry, and why should they? Xero does it all for us. Why should they want to do data entry to be able to do analysis and actually have a look at how a client's performing? Let alone the fact that the client wants to see pretty graphs in any case as well. But we try and do an experiment all the time. So how we run things, all of our clients either go into L platers, P platers or black ops. L platers guys get a dashboard because they're generally at the lower end in terms of what they're doing for business. So they get a dashboard every month. Nice, pretty, 6 graphs. It's really simple. Half the time we don't even give them commentary on that. They just want to see how they're tracking. They just want to know exactly what's going on. For our P platers and our black ops guys, we do a full spotlight report, and we're at the stage now where I customise for every single one of our clients this report. So the same one every month, but we customise the report to them. So for guys that it's all about revenue, we might do 2 pages or 3 pages of chart galleries just on revenue. So we might be actually tracking a certain type of revenue. We might be tracking a certain percentage of COGS for a certain revenue point or whatever it might be. Every single client gets a tailored report for themselves. But who loves tax planning? $1 you can take away from the government, how exciting. But tax planning is generally pretty boring, right? What you deliver for tax planning I know, it was pretty boring for me because it was like, yes, we've saved you heaps of tax, but it's words and you might put in, a 0 report. Not really exciting. So we did the dashboard, so the one with the graph that you had up before with like the green and the orange and the red. So for every single client for tax planning time, we just did that. Every single client, 1 page, pretty report. Revenues better or worse, profits better or worse, cash is better or worse, this is why it's better or worse, and yay, we've saved you heaps of tax. Here's your action list. Took 2 seconds, but clients are like, oh, I've not seen that before. That's exciting. And they start to have a conversation and a dialogue again. So again, you can go back and have a stack more fun. So then Spotlight comes out and gives us forecasting. Who likes doing cash flow planning for clients? Who likes Excel? Really? 2 of you, you should be friends. I don't hate you. Well, look, 3 of you, God, hate Excel. Hate it. Because by the time you get complex clients, by the time you get people with hundreds of thousands of transactions over a year, cash flow planning and budgeting actually does become quite cumbersome if you want to do it to a really finite level. And with Spotlight's new forecasting, it literally does everything for you and gives you pretty graphs at the same time. So it not only takes the hassle and headache around having to use Excel, understand Excel, make sure all of your formulas are right or wrong, and then you go, I want to change this thing, and it kills everything and you get in trouble. Well, I do anyway. Spotlight does that. So I'm excited that I can actually do forecasting again. It's great. But for me, all this is a tool. We all use tools every single day. Xero is an awesome tool for us. We're mad fans of your beautiful hosts. I was telling a story before. I sent a proposal today to a guy who just randomly emailed us using our website contact form. Lynette, our beautiful mother hen, had Googled him and said, oh, he looks all right, so I did a proposal. Great client selection here. And while I was on the train this afternoon, he accepted the proposal. And guess what? That's automated, so the nice little welcome to Growthwise email's gone out with these pretty little pictures, and our little checklist of all the information that we need has already gone out. And he probably thinks I'm amazing. And I didn't do anything. So we all use these great tools, and it's getting to the stage now where we don't need administration of people physically typing stuff in to get the job done. Spotlight takes it that one step further, that it's using the data and the information and the tools that the business owner is using and allows us to have some fun. It allows us to tell the story to the client. You can imagine with a graph, you can actually tell a client what's going on. You can actually have a conversation with a client. So hopefully this one will be all right. But if you look at this, you go, well, January revenue is terrible. And a lot of the time I'll actually have 3 or 4 years worth of data in here because the more data you have, the better it is. I am an accountant. January is terrible. I hope you're taking holidays in January. But I look at that as well and I go, okay, well, if August is generally terrible, what's happening with your capacity in August? And the client can start to tell you their story of what's going on in business as well. And all of a sudden, what their profit is at the end of the year, how much tax they have to pay, what their BAS amount ends up being, they don't care. Our clients don't care. We send our clients a BAS via DocuSign straight after the end of the month with a little note that's got, this is your amount payable, tick, it's in your GST account. Clients don't care about that. It's just a transaction that they've physically got to press a couple of buttons and then unfortunately pay, okay? But they get excited when we actually show them and send them this. And we're at the stage now where I have clients who, if we haven't done it in a couple of days after the end of the month, they're like, where's my report? I want to see if I'm winning, which is great because then they're more invested in their business and you can have a whole heap more fun. So to answer guys' question in terms of why Spotlight and to get all of you really excited, it's all about the fun. Yes, you can make heaps more money. Yes, you don't have to spend time doing stupid data entry and boring stuff. You get to have fun with your clients. Get to make a real impact on their business and what it is that they're doing by an awesome tool that literally lays it out for you. You just need to tell the story. And for people who are young, for people who are introverted, for people who, telling a story to a client isn't natural, this is the tool they can hide behind that makes their life easy. 18-year-old kid can deliver a Spotlight report to a client and tell that client how they're actually going. That's impressive because they've got tools. So, questions, I believe. No questions?
I have one. I'm not an accountant or anything. I still haven't understood. Say you have a tradesman here.
Yep.
How does their data get to this?
Straight out of Xero or QuickBooks. So if the tradesman's doing their own data entry into Xero, or if they've got a bookkeeper doing that data entry into Xero, or if they've got an accountant doing that data entry into Xero, all you do then is pull that information straight out. So Jason had the screen up before, it had an import screen. So you literally press the import button and it will pull all that data straight out of Xero for you automatically.
Oh, so they have to actually enter it into Xero?
Yeah.
It
Or
doesn't come from their, the thing they send to the clients. Not the account, the invoice, yeah, sorry. Thank you.
no, because the invoices we're assuming in this example are actually entered into Xero or at the moment entered into QuickBooks Online and later that other word that starts with M. So the idea behind this is that the client has actually used an accounting program, an accounting system to do their invoicing and their reconciling to start with, but it still imports from Excel. So you can press the Excel button here and import whatever data you want as well. You don't have to have been using any system.
I think the missing piece of the magic is because Xero is sitting online and because Spotlight is online, the two talk to each other basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's what they call an API or an application programming interface that connects the two together.
I got that bit, but I was just wondering who actually does the entry. So they have to enter into Xero.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, unfortunately, invoicing isn't completely automated. Completely. One day we'll have a robot and just be able to talk to it. It will talk to our wrist and it'll do the invoice for you. Coming, I saw in Xero. So we'll be able to talk to the wrist, the invoice will be done, it'll be sent to the client, and then, yeah, you won't have to do any data entry at all, because there is stuff out there like Shoebox who does all of the back-end data entry for you of all of your purchasing invoices. We're just still waiting for the robot. Come on, Xero. I've been waiting for five years.
Final question. What integrations aside from Xero, Excel, and Qubio does Spotlight have at the moment? You mentioned there might be a few other data entry points and that then was coming.
Well, there are these ones, of course. So Excel is an integration point.
Yeah.
Google Analytics, Workflow Max. Vend is, we're almost there with Vend. Deputy is on the drawing board as well. Unleashed for the stock side. They're the main ones that we're looking at bringing out. The more popular add-ons in that Xero ecosystem I mean, it's quite exciting. I mean, if we can start pulling through the retail stats from Vend, accountants can start talking to their clients about when their busy periods are, when they can start scheduling stuff, how that impacts what Steph was talking about in terms of, wages versus revenue. And
we do that now with Counter, with lots of our hospitality cafe clients, and pulling that data out and going, well, why are you opening at 6 o'clock? You sell nothing between 6 and 7, and showing them graphically, time-based. If you've got a nerd, they can do that for you. That. I don't know what that is, but that stuff.
They can become the API.
And all of a sudden numbers appear, which is amazing. But that's the fun stuff. Imagine being able to say to a client, you don't need to open at 6 o'clock anymore because no one comes in between 6 and 7. So therefore, 6 days a week, you're going to save an hour's worth of wages, or you get to go to bed.
Or both.
Or both. Or being able to have that conversation with a client with the data and say, well, there is no point in you opening on a Sunday because your Sunday sales are terrible. And all of that stuff you can actually graph in Spotlight as well. So you literally can create so many different graphs and charts. And I've gotten to the stage where I think for an entire day, one day, I was literally just sitting there creating charts and graphs and going, oh my God, this is very exciting. Look at this for this client. Because it just tells a story. So anyone who's not an accountant, hopefully you're converted now and you really want to be an accountant.
I did English literature and I'm converted.
Yes! I think that's a high five, Jace.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steph. Well, thanks so much, everybody. Thanks, Guy, as well, especially for putting this on. These are great, these events. And Steph for coming in and showing us where the rubber hits the road, I guess, and how to actually have fun as an accountant. And great to have Rob here from Xero as well. I think together we're putting the cool back in accountancy. Those, you're going to start changing the commercials.
He said he was from MYOB.
I love it. All right. No other questions?